Hi everybody, my name is Soul, and today I want to talk to you about my favorite superhero. I'm talking about the good old friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And today, instead of doing my own reviews, I thought it would be neat if, while, we're prepping for No Way Home to come out, why don't we look at some old Spider-Man films and look at the fan receptions of these films. I have got Letterboxd here, which if you want to go follow me on Letterboxd, it's Soul Show on there. The link should be in the description for just about all my videos. And so I have the entire Sam Raimi trilogy. I got the Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2 and Into the Spider-Verse as a little bonus. We're going to look at the reviews for these films and see what is the best Spider-Man film. And I've been rewatching these films to prep for No Way Home, and just a spoiler alert, I gave the first one an 8 out of 10. I thought it was great. Good job, Sam Raimi. Shout out to your free ad over there, but it seems fans gave the original Spider-Man a 3.7. So, no, not a bad score. Now let's just start going down the list. Why does Willem Dafoe need to wear that giant Green Goblin mask when it's identical to his actual facial expression? It's actually Green Goblin who plays Willem Dafoe, and he just adds a bunch of pale makeup. It's actually quite the task. Uncle Ben would be alive if pro wrestling had a union. As a fan of pro wrestling, that joke is so much better. I forgot that half of the reviews on the site are just either roasts or pretty clever jokes. Hey, I hate everything. Back to formula. Back to formula. A film where a teenager's life changes when he realizes that he can produce white, sickly liquid from his body. That's just some low-hanging fruit there, buddy. The Nickelback song is just the icing on the cake, and I couldn't agree more. Go, Web! Fly! Up, up, and away, Web! Shazam! Go! Go! Go, Web, go! Oh my god, it's an actual review. This guy gave it an 8 out of 10, and I will just let you guys read that yourself. Good for him for not making a joke out of it like everybody else. Better in every conceivable way than every modern superhero film. I'd rather have the shitty CGI too. I don't give a fuck. I hope Marvel fans find this review and get really mad and they can't reply, can't click that link to my Twitter and DM me either, pal. That account is gone. You're stuck if you hate my reviews. You're stuck stewing your own shit and piss. That just became about you. But I will say, yeah, this film feels a lot more organic than your everyday Marvel film that comes out, but that's just the nature of the beast of making one of those films every year. I still think a lot of those films are still better than the original Spider-Man, but that's just me. I both adore and detest how this now plays like a non-stop meme compilation. The internet will ruin things and the internet will make things. And it's done both with the original Spider-Man. The upside down kiss means absolutely everything to me. 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10 for a single scene. Goddamn. Fun fact, the mid-2000s wardrobe was me copying Tobey Maguire's costumes in this film. The glasses, the ringer tees, the hoodies, the pea coat, everything. So they tried to dress him up as a dork for the majority of this film. Like that was the intent. Why is every scene so iconic? Tobey Maguire's acting in this gives off the same energy as me disassociating in the middle of a conversation and then pretending I understood everything. I don't think Tobey Maguire knew he was being filmed. I think in a past life he remembered his lines and they were struggling to bubble at the surface as his face contorted. Yeah, that's how I feel with this entire trilogy. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the film that made the world fall in love with comic book movie, is still to this day one of the best movie experiences I had growing up. Sure, Blade and X-Men had come before, but this is what truly made people pay attention to these movies. Spider-Man should call people gay again like the good old days. I don't know about should, but watching that scene again, yeah, I felt pretty old myself, where I could just watch something I grew up on as a kid, and I'm just like, oh god, this would not fly nowadays. We'll meet again, Spider-Man. Oh, Willem, how I've missed you. I can't wait to see you again soon. I think that, honestly, is one of the best parts about watching this film in today's context, is that we know that, yes, sure, that context might have meant through Norman, but now it has a whole new context. And then we get a lot of 5 and a lot of 4 out of 10s. I am guessing the general census of Spider-Man is people think it's at least somewhere in the 7.5 to 9 range, And I am obviously within that range, and I can concur. It's a great film, cheesy, it's aged, but it's still good old classic, iconic Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and I can understand why people love it. And then we have Spider-Man 2. I know you can't see it, but I gave this film a 9 out of 10, and the ratings are a 3.8, which is just one little point higher than the last film. Let's see what people got to say about it. Coming in hot with a 10 out of 10. Kristen Dunst, when asked her thoughts on a new Spider-Man movie, she responded with, "I don't care. Everyone likes our Spider-Man. Come on, am I right or what? We made the best ones, so who cares?" That's it. That's my review. They're the best and puts every other superhero movie to shame without a doubt. Also, Doc Ock going on murder's rampage instead of just admitting he was wrong is the mood. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with all that. Again, I still think there's a lot of great Marvel films out there. It's really an apples to oranges situation. They're so tonally different, and there's so many different levels of the technology and everything else, but I obviously wouldn't just completely throw every single new superhero movie out the film. I don't think this film is exceptionally beyond a lot of those films, but again, there is a charm to it. I feel like people like this really will only accept that organic old style of the superhero films and won't take anything else, and it is what it is. 9 out of 10, best superhero film. 9 out of 10, even I Hate Everything with an 8 out of 10. Was way too harsh on this before. The operating table and the train scene especially are too perfect. I can agree. Train scene is iconic. You can watch my review for that to know more. 96 out of 100, 10 out of 10. Cinema is an unabashed heroism, a spirited exchange of Raimi's first installment, but contained in feeling. If Spider-Man was a hokey but beautifully earnest origin story, Spider-Man 2 is a tightly plotted comic book masterpiece utilizing duality as a basis. I think we get the picture. Yeah, homeboy loves Spider-Man 2. If I was Peter Parker, I'd simply be Spider-Man and let myself get pussy. What an idiot. Another 10 out of 10, another 10 out of 10, just as fucking perfect. This is the lowest review I've seen so far, and it's a 7 out of 10. Imagine today's market, a superhero movie that simply finds the main character struggling with difficult romance, make it emotionally vulnerable, the battles of a single villain whose inner turmoil neatly parallels his own. I feel like this person might be a little bit more prune-ish if they said all that and only gave it a 7. But yeah, I agree that a lot of today's superhero films really don't have that like emotional backbone that Peter has in this film. But, you know, it could be worse. It could be Spider-Man 3. 10 out of 10, this is the best. 10 out of 10, this is the best movie ever made. 9 out of 10, there are so many screaming women in this film. You don't know how Spider-Man works. 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And it kind of just goes on like that. I've yet to see a bad review. It was so overwhelmingly positive. I gotta mix it up here. So before, I was rating it by the most popular reviews, which, you know, a lot of people who love this film are going to thumbs up the other ones just to justify their opinions. Now we're going by people who lowered it the greatest. This guy just says, Tobey Maguire is annoying. Yes, just the main character being annoying is a reason to give it the lowest score possible. I have some bad news for you if this is your favorite Spider-Man superhero movie. What's the bad news? This was really bad. Let's drown the black hole suns thing. Chocolate saves the day. These should have at least given Mary Jane a bra so her back would hurt less from carrying these films. I don't know about carrying. There's a couple of scenes you might want to rewatch, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, she could use a bra. Some of it doesn't hold up well, but I loved it mostly. Watch the 2.1 extended cut. If you loved it, why did you give it the worst score possible? I told the chat I was going to give it half a star if Peter and MJ took the whole movie to get together. I wasn't actually going to do that until they annoyed the fuck out of me, so I'm following through my word. Doc Ock was a cool villain, although him making those intricate tentacles for no reason and then just wants to make the sun for some reason. It's kind of funny, I guess. Also, Harry just being a bitch. Like, damn, we get it. He hates Peter and Spider-Man or whatever. Anyway, if I was rating it, honestly, I'd give it a 2.5 stars just to show I liked it less than the 1. I don't think people understand the rating system. And again, if I gave a film a 1 out of 10, there is probably almost nothing in that film I like. So if you like Doc Ock, that already probably would raise it, right? And you just don't like that he is an inventor and he made multiple things. And yeah, MJ and Peter took the whole film to get together. That usually romances get together at the end of the film. That's why the kissing and the credits are like such good buddies. The first half was so frustrating. Fuck MJ. I was gonna give it a full star, and then Elias and Jonah dared to compare it to Spider-Verse, and I knocked it down. So when I watch movies, other people's opinions don't really matter at all to me. Other than that, like, MJ is either the worst or best character depending on who you talk to, I guess. Tobey Maguire still bothers me. Yeah, I can see a lot of people don't like Tobey. Yeah, Tobey Maguire's performance in the entire trilogy is like a specimen. You really have to like study it, and like once you do, you just know it's a clusterfuck and it's still good somehow at the end of the day. And then we have obviously the most celebrated one. We got Spider-Man 3, which has a 2.8, which is, you know, only about like one full number down from the 3.8 of Spider-Man 2, so I'm sure it's not that bad. Again, so we're going to start by the popular reviews. The top one is a guy saying this is unironically great with a 9 out of 10. By the way, I gave this film a 5. I really want to know why. This film reminds me of that fat dead guy in 7. You know, the one who gets force-fed so much food that his stomach bursts? Yeah, this film is exactly like that. I understand what they mean by that. I don't think I'd give it that low of a score just because it's a little overpacked. You want forgiveness? You want forgiveness? Get religion. If you can meet Raimi on his bizarre wavelength here, there are real pleasures to be found in both its absurdism and melodrama. I kind of disagree there because we already have corny superhero movie with a strange main character. It's already like on thin ice there. But when you add like CW melodrama, if you add in the absurdism, at that point, it doesn't feel like I'm watching Spider-Man anymore. But this guy gave it 8 out of 10. Some people definitely like Spider-Man 3. With a 10 out of 10, this movie works precisely because it is the installment of the series most devoted to Mary Jane as a person, because it most understands Peter Parker's innate shortcomings as a boyfriend and a man, and makes that part of the literal storytelling. I don't think I want Peter to be bad at everything, though. I understand that the last film was about shitting on Peter, and this film is about shitting on Mary Jane, and it's kind of her movie in like certain ways. She still doesn't grow from that. She's still just a damsel in distress at the end of the film. She doesn't go anywhere with that. It's kind of just her bouncing off of Peter being a shitty person and just making baffling dumb decisions. Like, he was always naive, but he wasn't just a straight up dumbass. I like him having shortcomings, but I like them being like shortcomings like, oh, I don't have enough time. I have so much responsibility. I'm trying to make everyone happy. Like, these are things I relate to, not so much, oh, I'm a piece of shit or I'm so dumb I just make out with anybody or things of that nature. With a 9 out of 10, I think the hate for this movie comes from the fact that it's only secondarily a superhero movie, and it's first and foremost a tragic tale of heartbreak, betrayal, and moral misgivings. Only then does the superhero element serve to literarize those dramatic battles and explosive action near. I don't think the melodrama stuff is actually good, though. That's the most infuriating part of the film for me. Again, it just feels like a weird, dumb team drama. Most of it just comes from characters like just being really bad at communicating, and not in like a smart or realistic sense, just in the fact that they have obvious ways to solve the problems and they just don't because of plot reasons. With a 7 out of 10, look at the little Green Goblin Jr. Gonna cry? Emo Peter Parker, Tom Holland could never. I don't think Tobey Maguire did either, though. If anything, I think Tom Holland had a better chance of pulling that scene off, but I pray to God they would never do anything even close to that. All right, now let's just watch the people who are gonna dump on this film immediately. This is a giant pile of shit. If it was just Mary Jane, Goblin Jr., and J.K. Simmons, this shit would be a buy fantasy 5 stars easily. 47 out of 100. So many memes, so many Tobey faces, so many villain storylines, so many emo Peter Parker hip thrusts and finger guns, so many unbelievable one-liners, so many unironically funny moments. So bad. So that, again, if it's bad, it would be... If a bad film is a lot worse than 50, which I think would be average, right? And if you're doing 47 out of 100, that would be close. The closest thing that would be is a 5 out of 10, which would be a 2.5 out of 5. You've done 1 out of 10, 0.5 out of 5. I think people really just want to have those dramatic numbers, and they just, bam, whatever. I thought this film was kind of bad, 1 out of 10. That's just not how it works. This movie broke my heart. Sam Raimi's first 2 Spider-Man movies are so good that it makes this disaster movie even more insulting. I feel you there. I was a kid when I watched this film. I think I would have been like 11, and I already would have grown up on the first 2 Spider-Man movies, and I already loved those. And even as an 11-year-old, this film, I walked out of thinking it was pretty dumb. I think it would have been one of the first times I really walked out of a theater or out of anything, and I was not only disappointed, I was like a little bit upset. Like, I understand rage culture around stuff like this because it's a lot of people who feel like they wanted something and they got something really bad in return. You know, we're all spoiled first class little kids, and when our Spider-Man movies aren't as good as we wanted to, we get upset on the internet about it. But is it a 1 out of 10? Is it something that made me devastated? I don't know about that. Eyeliner gives me the biggest ick. Yeah, someone's eyeliner is worth giving the movie a 1 out of 10. It's enough slices, like too many villains, not enough overlap. I hate Mary Jane. This felt like a fever dream. Emo at least redeemed a single character. Wow, so bad. I don't know what. I don't think it redeemed him. I think he went further down into the dump fire after that. Stop the madness. Why Venom didn't kill Peter? That narcissistic, miserable piece of shit thought he was something else because he was bitten by a spider. Mary Jane deserves better. My girl's talented. She's so pretty. Why is she hanging out with that ugly? Peter should be kissing the floor she walks by instead of making her pain all about him. So, well, Peter is Spider-Man, and so if anything, his devotion to that is, you know, a selflessness and something that he was, you know, taught by Uncle Ben. And I don't think Mary Jane is all that fantastic either. Like, she literally makes out with Harry, his best friend. She makes out with his best friend because she wasn't getting enough attention. And that's before Peter did all that nasty shit to her. So yeah, hard disagree. Then we have The Amazing Spider-Man, which has a 3.0, and I have not seen it anytime soon, so I am not gonna give my opinion until I rewatch it. And I can tell this film's more divided because we see a 3 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8, 10, 8, 7, a 3, an 8, and a 10. Andrew's the best Peter. You guys are just tasteless. Mark Webb. With a 2 out of 10, Emma Stone and knee-high socks is the only reason to watch this film. With a 5 out of 10, every time I found myself questioning the existence of this film, Emma Stone would appear and remind me that maybe it's not so bad. So there's a couple of people who really like Emma Stone, and that's enough for them. Peter telling Gwen to shut up and kiss him, that's cinema to me. With a 3 out of 10, a beat-for-beat rehash aside from a few details of Raimi's original with the tension recalibrated from Tex Avery Anarchy to CW Teen Angst. Brutal. Little skater boy Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. I'm not taking any other opinions. Him and Emma Stone are so adorable. Again, people just like Emma Stone. And there's some love for Andrew Garfield. I think, again, The Spider-Man films are essentially the same story, but the reason we connect with certain stories is if we relate or just get in touch with the main characters. And whether that was Tobey or Andrew or Tom, that's why a lot of people like different Spider-Man films. And a lot of the people who are giving like mediocre reviews don't really have that much to say about it. I think it's just the fact that they didn't enjoy the film all that much. But let's watch the reviews of people who really just wanted to say something negative about it. With a 1 out of 10, I was planning on rewatching all the Spider-Man films before No Way Home, but after suffering through this one, I think I'm just gonna skip The Amazing Spider-Man 2. When I was a boy, I saw The Amazing Spider-Man on its opening weekend with my parents. We were happy, life was good, the movie was okay, largely forgettable, but okay nonetheless. However, my life was about to change as 2 days later, my parents split up and filed for divorce. Okay, I don't feel comfortable talking about that in this anymore. One of my most vivid childhood memories was back in 2011. I was playing in the backyard with my best friend at the time. Suddenly, my mother called me inside to watch Spider-Man 4 trailer. God, people are really getting hit in the fucking memory department. But he still gave it a 1 out of 10. This is like an early 2010s pop punk band made a Spider-Man film. Andrew Garfield is so fucking good. That's the takeaway from this review. He does the script and films so many favors. It's unbelievable. This guy is just pure raw talent. Maybe my favorite on-screen Peter Parker. Certainly closest feeling to the comics. The movie is fucking ass. It's so bad it has no clue what it wants to do. Unbelievable how much Sony got wrong, and I can't believe it got a sequel. That was like 2 different reviews stacked on top of each other. The only thing good about this movie is a librarian stan. I loathe this shit with every fiber in my being, and I can't believe I ever thought this was good. Poop, poop, poop. I can't even finish this movie, worse than the second one and more insufferable. I hate Peter Parker, but Andrew is hot, so whatever, I guess. What do you people come to films for? Just Google people and then stare at their pictures for hours. It's mind-numbingly bad. Even the title is fucking stupid. Like, what the hell? It is a shockingly poorly paced and badly put together. Isn't a single character that feels... What's wrong with the title? It's The Amazing Spider-Man. The way that every single thing is Andrew Garfield's fault in this shitty movie. Yeah, people just have really different opinions about Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. Don't take it personally. I just hate Andrew Garfield's acting. The lack of Tobey Maguire in this film is absolutely atrocious. Fuck this movie too. I feel like this guy was just reviewing movies at a time with just one-word sentences. He's like, and fuck this one too. Fucking hell, the best part of this film is when Peter really wants to eat a fly is depressing. How is the CGI in this one worse than the 2002 film? Hate every single character. Would love to test Andrew Garfield's chin. Emma Stone looks nice in the movie, though. Maybe they're not even talking about whether they like the characters of Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. Maybe they're just talking exclusively about the attractiveness level of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. There's nothing amazing about this film. See what you did there. Then we got The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which has a 2.6. Again, I have not seen this one in a while. I think that's the worst one yet. Cinema will certainly survive the superhero era, but I may not. This guy shows up all the time, man. What? Tell me about yourself, Matt Lynch. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting. This movie was bad. I got bored and fell asleep. No thanks. I wouldn't review films if I didn't finish them and I just fell asleep on them, but that's just me. Every time I watch these movies, I go and think I'll develop the ability to be critical and objective, and then every single time I just wind up crying and wanting Andrew Garfield's Spidey back. Hey, okay, we got some love for this film. Sadly, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is far from amazing. You're not the first guy to make that comment. It's a bit of a mess in all honesty. I was actually quite bored during the majority of it. This film really lacks a sense of direction. I didn't plan on ugly crying today, but here we are. I know what scene you're talking about. So we got a 3 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It's definitely a lot less favored upon, but no one seems to absolutely love it, but no one seems to 100% hate it yet. Peter Gwen deserves so much better. Tumblr's favorite Spider-Man. Hot take, the greatness of this film outweighs anything that's bad and everyone's too mean on this film. I want more Garfield as Spider-Man. Sony didn't deserve him or Stone, and God neither did we. There's definitely some people sleeping in there who enjoy this film a lot more than the people who, just outright hate it. But in fairness, the people who are talking about why they like it seem to be going in a lot more detail than the people who are just saying it's bad because of 1 to 2 word sentences. And it seems I am out of time for today's video. I really got into some of those reviews, but I think I might just do a part 2 where I do the more modern films, do all the Tom Holland, do Into the Spider-Verse. But those were the internet's thoughts on the old Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films. Let me know your thoughts of these films down below. And until next time, with that, I leave you.